Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to take a look at the assignment that's due at the end of the week for CSE 110 on this first week. If we look at week one, we see it down here, clever stories. Let's take a quick look. So in clever stories, it's more like the game Mad Lib that many of you might have heard of. You can read some more about that there. In essence, what it is, if we go down to the bottom here, it's a little example, right? It's going to ask the user. So the user needs to provide input with the keyboard and needs to provide an adjective, an animal, a verb, an exclamation, and then two more verbs. And then what happens is the story prints out. It's the same story, but we're going to replace some words with the words the user wrote. But we can see in here. So we see the word happy right here, right? And it's the happy's put right here. What is happy? The zebra. So the animal's put right here. And then we say hooray, and that's the exclamation. Notice though, capital H, lowercase h. We're going to have to talk about that. And then the more things here, we see drive down here, drive showed up here. And it makes a funny story is what it is. So the user types in some random words, and then you read the story and you have a laugh, right? It's kind of what it is. What we're going to do first is we're going to run the program, and then we're going to talk about how to approach writing the program, okay? So let me pull up. Okay, here's the program. You can't see the code. All you can see is a comment at the top that says it's prove 01, okay? But I'm going to press play, and let's see what it does. There we go. Please enter the following. A blank line. Remember blank lines? You just say print, open close parentheses with nothing inside. That gives you a blank line. Please enter the following. Blank, adjective, colon. Notice there's a space after the colon, right? Oh, let's do some words here. I don't know. An adjective, hungry. An animal. How about a sheep? A verb. How about hiking? An exclamation. We can say, watch out. A verb. Notice I did that in lowercase, by the way. A verb, let's see. That's going to be another verb. Let's see. We can do bum, 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 bum. I'm just not very imaginative. Oh, I know. Programming, of course. And another verb, we can do sleeping. There we go. All right, and let's read our story. The other day I was really in trouble. It all started when I saw a very hungry sheep hiking down the hallway. Watch out, I yelled. Actually, that was pretty good. But all I could think to do was to do programming over and over. That's the problem, right? We always spend hours and hours writing code. Miraculously, that caused it to stop. Who would have thought? But not before it tried to sleeping right. Maybe I should have said sleep, not say sleeping, but it sounded better. To sleeping right in front of my family. And that's because you've been coding all night, right? You didn't get any rest. So that's how it works. Notice we got some spaces in between here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of text. So maybe that's 5 print statements, okay? All right, so how do we approach this? Let's come back over to this page here when we were doing our learning. We're going to make a new file here and going to call this prove01.py. And just like before, you saw in that example, I'm going to say this is the prove01. And I'm going to write my name, Brother Macbeth. You write your name, okay? Now, it's really useful to sort of plan out the code with comments, all right? If we look back at how the program worked over here, we asked the user for some information, some inputs, and then we displayed the outputs, the story. It's 2 parts, right? So let's come back over here. We're going to say, ask the user to input some words, okay? And then down here, we're going to do the next part. We're going to display the story using the words provided by the user. 2 parts, right? Now, we saw this in the learning before, right? That to get inputs, we use the input command. And just to display things, we use the print command. So let's do at least something in here so that we can practice a little bit more. I'm going to be generic here. I would suspect that if you ask them for a verb, that you would say verb 1 is equal to. Make it a useful variable name, okay? And we say verb 1 because there were 3 verbs, okay? There's only one adjective, so maybe the variable name is just adjective. But make meaningful names. We're just going to do a sample of something else here. We say word, input, enter a word, colon space, right? It looks a little bit different over here, right? It's just adjective, not enter an adjective, just adjective lowercase. Try, really important in your first course of programming, to create the output exactly the way you see it in the assignment. You'll get a lot more flexibility in the future, okay? It's just practice right now. Enter a word and we save it right there. Now we come down here, we're going to print it, right? Print, and let's write some text. The word is, now remember, if we want to do a variable, we have to make this an F string. So I put a letter F there before the double quote, and then in curly braces, I put my variable name. Okay, so let's just make sure that runs. We'll say play. Enter a word. Code. The word is code. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's see if we can manipulate a few things, because if we come back over to the assignment, you'll notice that in the instruction section, there is a really important sentence or two in here, okay? It says, make sure that the exclamation word is automatically capitalized because it starts a new sentence. Okay, notice when we ran it, we did everything lowercase. So how do we get the exclamation to be a capital H or something like that, right? So there's all sorts of things that we can do with strings. We call this a string because it's a collection of characters, letters, and numbers and things. All right, there's some things we can do with it. Watch this. I can type bot, which allows us to run some functions. In fact, Visual Studio Code gave me a big list here. But there's a few I want to try. Upper, parentheses. This is called a function. You'll learn more about functions in CSE 111. We'll talk about it more at the end of 110. But for right now, this is going to cause everything to be uppercase. Let's see that happen. Press play, and we say code, and it's all in uppercase, right? Let's change this to be lower, and we'll run it again. But this time, we're going to type it with a mix of cases like that. And when I press enter, it's all lowercase now. So it's changing the string, okay, when we go to print it out. A couple other fun ones. Capitalize. Let's run that one. Enter a word. I'm going to actually enter in a sentence, okay? I'm going to say, I love to code. And look what it did. It capitalized the first letter of the sentence. All right? Try it for something else. I can say, it is snowing outside. And when I'm creating this video, it is snowing outside. And I'll press enter. And see, oh, I didn't do it right. I made it capitalized already. I got lowercase. It is snowing outside. There we go. And now it capitalized just the I at the front of that word. Here's another one. We can do dot title. Press play. Let's say I love to code. It capitalizes each letter, the first letter of each word. This is called title case. You'll hear that phrase as you're coding in the future. Yeah, so that's kind of neat, right? Okay, so you might have to do some of that kind of stuff for the assignment. There's also another thing we want to do. Let's this thing here, maybe I want to print it out with double quotes around it, right? Make it seem like a quote someone's saying. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to put a quote here, and I'm going to put a quote here. Okay. Now, already you see a red squiggly here. Okay, so something's wrong. Let's see what happened. Play. Yuck. All right. Syntax error, invalid syntax. Perhaps you forgot a comma. What am I doing commas? So sometimes the Python error is not exactly the problem. You got to think about it some more. So we look up here, and it says on line 10 of our file, line 10, that's this one right here, it says that I forgot a comma, and it's saying that this happened here, right here at this last double quote, this area over here. Here's the problem. Notice that we start with a double quote and we end with a double quote. It's really expecting that we're done with the print statement. When it sees that double quote, it doesn't recognize curly braces after the ending double quote. Okay, so if we want to do double quotes, we have to use a special character. We call this escaping a character. And we do this for various things where the character has a meaning. Um, and so I'm going to do a slash quote and a slash quote. The slash in front says, just display the double quote. This really isn't the double quote to end the string. I want this displayed. So now if we press play, okay, it likes us now. We're going to say, I love to code. We got title case in there. Oh, title case with the double quotes, and everyone's happy. All right. Hopefully that gives you some insight of how to start and some things to look for. Have a great time doing the assignment. If you get stuck anywhere along the way, just send me an email or a message in Teams. Have a wonderful day, everyone.